Now, please join me in welcoming our opening keynote, Jen Hyman, co-founder and CEO of Rent the Runway. Jen will be interviewed by Jill Manoff, editor-in-chief of Glossy.
Wow. That's fun. I would highly recommend it. Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Happy 15 years.
Oh my God, it's so amazing to be here today.
We're so excited to dig in and hear from the leader in this space, this disruptor. But we were just talking backstage about, you just made the Fashion Week rounds, and it's amazing how some things have changed, some things have stayed the same. Tell the crowd a little bit about what you were telling me in terms of brand alignment. I know that getting brands on board at the beginning of Rent the Runway was no easy feat.
Yeah, so in a month, we're going to celebrate our 15-year anniversary, which I'm so proud of. And I was just sharing with Jill, I just came off of a month of going to market. So going to New York Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, and I was remarking that as much as the world has actually changed over the last 15 years, and we can talk about how we find out about fashion is completely different now than 15 years ago. The consumer has completely changed in her preferences. Marketing and go-to-market strategies are completely different. The fashion industry itself is still only embracing change on the margins. And some of the language that I continue to hear when I go to many of these appointments are things like, well, what will our adjacencies be? Which is a phrase that I've heard now thousands of times over the past 15 years, which means it's a relic of my brand. Who will we sit next to in the department store? It's like people are talking out of the 19th century, like no one is shopping in department stores anymore. So like your adjacency is the TikTok video and the influencer who is talking about your product next to probably 10 other products that you have no control over. Right. Like there's no adjacencies in a digital world where 100% of how customers will fall in love with you is based on them organically talking about your brand on social media. So it's fascinating to me, like we're at a point now where, yes, we work with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of brands. They've embraced rental, they've embraced resale. But I think as an industry, we need to jump into the deep end of the pool in a much bigger way. Like embracing this on the margins is no longer going to cut it. Yeah. And we can look at the disruption that has happened. I think people are quicker to acknowledge the disruption that's happened in beauty than they are the disruption that's actually happened in fashion.
Yes, because you have Sephora at Kohl's, right? Like those brands are willing to be in Kohl's because they see the opportunity. And we're going to talk with Glossier about some of that. It will be,
I think it's different. 15 years ago in beauty, the major conglomerates who owned the big hero beauty companies controlled the market. Today, at least in the United States, the majority of sales come from indie brands. And they come from thousands and thousands of indie brands, Glossier being an amazing one that has built incredible business and momentum. The same thing has happened in fashion, it just hasn't been acknowledged. So what I mean is this, when we launched Rent the Runway and in our first few years we worked with a few hundred brands, nearly 3/4 of those brands that we worked with at the time, which were incredibly difficult to build relationships with at the time, they're out of business now. I have seen more brands go out of business over the last 15 years than I have brands who have stayed in business. Why? Because we're not actually thinking about what the consumer wants. The consumer has told us loud and clear in fashion and in beauty, she cares about variety. She cares about constant newness. And she's willing to get that constant newness from rental. She's willing to get it from resale. She's also willing to get it from Shein. She's willing to get it in any way that is affordable and that is easy for her to access.
Yes.
She also wants to be unique. She wants to be original. She doesn't want to wear the same thing as everyone else. And so that creates an opportunity for indie brands to become mainstream in every single industry. You no longer need the same sort of established players like retailers or the media or editors saying you're cool. You can become a $100 million business based on one 13-year-old girl talking about you on TikTok.
Yes. Well, we have to talk about the evolution of your business because you're launching something really special that really speaks to this trend or the need for this trend in terms of opening up the assortment. Do you want to talk about what you're launching tomorrow?
Yeah, so we are basically, in celebration of our 15-year anniversary, there are a lot of changes that we're making at Rent the Runway. And we're going to we think about this as a relaunch of the company that we're going to be doing in 2025. We're starting off with an entirely new subscription plan that we're launching tomorrow, which is going to be at an even more accessible price point, that is going to give people access to the full array of the millions of products that we have, and we think will enable people to start to dabble even more in rental. We've seen that what's shifted over the last 15 years is 15 years ago, I was trying to convince an audience of folks like you that wearing clothing that other people had worn before wasn't disgusting, and that it actually was aspirational and could be sustainable, and you should give it a try, whether it was via rental or it was via buying something secondhand. Today, tens of millions of people in the United States alone engage in rental every single year and resale. So the consumer is there. We've gone from a niche behavior into much more of a mainstream behavior. So what we need to do now is make sure that we have the products to usher in a completely new new customer segments into the business. And we're focusing also on complete evolution of our assortment. So we've seen that women continue to use Rent the Runway for self-expression, for uniqueness. They want to utilize us for the variety of having new pieces every single month. And when they rent from us, they actually want to take more risks and be more bold. So we're going even more bold with our assortment. So you'll see that starting now, but really into 2025, we're launching a tremendous amount of new collaborations with incredible brands. We're bringing on board dozens of new brands that we've never worked with. We're introducing those brands to our community. We've found out over the last 15 years that what we've become in the industry is actually a marketing partner of our brands. We thought we were entering the business 15 years ago as a retailer, which is fundamentally what you are, as you're a sales partner. But what we really do is we give women an experience wearing the clothes. They fall in love with those clothes organically, or they don't. You know, this is about creating the authentic connection. So the fact is that if you're a Rent the Runway customer, you're receiving 5 or 10 items a month from us. And many of those you're authentically determining for yourself, do I love it? Do I not? Does it fit me? What size does it work? So what we've effectively done is we've created a retail 2.0 experience. I've just brought the retail store into your home, allowed you to wear those clothes in real life and figure out what you want to add to your permanent collection.
Yes. Well, what activity is happening there? I think there was a stat at one point that, your customer tries on a pair of jeans and then they're going to the brand. They realize they love a Goldie or whatever it is. And for me, it was Favorite Daughter, where I tried on a suit through Rent the Runway, and I'm like, I'm going to shop all of that. But you're able to give some great data to your brands. What are they looking for? And also, what's the customer behavior that you're seeing?
Yeah, so it's still the case that over 95% of our customers, when they rent from us, they're renting a brand they've never owned before. So it's pure play customer acquisition. And then 80% of our customers, 80%, tell us that they end up purchasing the brands that they fall in love with on RTR. So they're developing this affinity for new brands. They're in the mode of discovery on rental because it's low stakes. So you know that when you're renting, like, you don't have to have it permanently. So people are more willing to try. And then they figure out what they want to buy. And so we see ourselves as a real partner of customer acquisition for our brands, which is why now we've become an asset-light model. Over 50% of our inventory we receive from our brands for free. We revenue share with them over time. We also develop completely exclusive collections with our most popular brands so that we could actually build collections utilizing data that are specifically targeted to our customers. So as brands now embrace us as a marketing partner, they're doing way more innovative things with us related to their assortment, which is helping them grow new customers. And it's also great for us too, because it gives us great inventory.
Yes. Well, over the 15 years, your investment and what you deem worthy of your investment has also evolved. We were looking backstage at your app and how it's come a long way since, 5 years ago.
It's come a long way since 6 months ago, let alone 5 years ago.
It looks fantastic. And so you were investing a lot in the technology, the user experience, and I know there's been some dabble. You're doing a lot with marketing right now. How is it either or? Is it like, are you going heavy in one area versus the other? How has that evolved?
So just to kind of take it up to 10,000 feet, we were on a rocket ship of growth until March of 2020. March of 2020, when people stopped fundamentally wearing anything except pajamas, really difficult for Rent the Runway, and we had some years where we had to rebuild, and we focused on our margins, and we focused on getting to profitability. And basically, at the very end of last year, beginning of this year, I knew our business was going to be free cash flow break even this year, and we had to reignite the business around growth. So I came back started the year as if I was almost a new CEO of the business. I was like, we need to think about this business as if we are relaunching it in the way that a new CEO would. We need to think about reinvigorating our marketing for where the consumer is today, reinvigorating our creative, reinvigorating our assortment, reinvigorating our go-to-market strategy. And that's what you've been seeing us do this year, and you'll see us continue to do. We're launching an enormous amount of newness on the platform basically every week. A new subscription plan again launching tomorrow, but lots of new plans launching in 2025. We've completely overhauled our creative because we recognize that our competitive advantage is the fact that we carry high quality, amazing designer brands. And so our creative needs to be as cool and worthy of our brand partners. And our customer base also really responds most prominently to UGC. Yeah. So she wants to see how real women are styling their looks. Our business has always been about fundamentally the power of community. And so infusing that community into our creative has been a huge part of this kind of creative evolution that we've been making. And we have some really fun things in store next month for our 15-year anniversary involving that community.
Can't wait. Well, it feels organic to move from, those review photos that I look for to UGC on your app. Tell me, I know you're going from here to one of your college activations. That's probably new for you. Have you done something like that prior for your marketing?
We have, actually. So I'm leaving here and going to meet a Rent the Runway Airstream, which is basically touring every different sorority in the South and every Big Ten school, every SEC school before their game days and all of their fun events. And getting the brand back out there. I think that during this period where Rent the Runway was focused on cost cutting and on getting the business to profitability, improving our margins, we were too insular in how we thought about marketing. We were only really doing bottom of the funnel direct response marketing. And you can't actually connect with consumers, grow your business, or innovate your business by putting ads up on Google or on Meta. You have to engage in whether it's events offline, real ambassadors, engage with the community in innovative and interesting ways.
Yes.
So we're going around the country, we're meeting all of our consumers. Yes, it's a marketing event, but it's also just an amazing consumer research event where on every campus, we're meeting thousands of women now in college, and the college girls of today are completely different from what they were even 5 years ago, the last time we did one of these events. And we're learning from them, like, well, how are they learning? How are they styling themselves? What brands matter to them? And so fundamentally, like, it's both marketing, but it's helping us innovate our entire proposition.
Yes.
So I view this year as almost a second founding moment of the company. I think that on one hand, it's amazing that I'm here celebrating 15 years of building my business. I actually am a bigger believer today in Rent the Runway than I have ever been. But the downside of being a founder or any leader who's at a place for a long period of time is that sometimes you can let some of your opinions of, well, we've tried that in the past and it didn't work. Like that becomes part of your mantra, or you stop to see what is different and what is changing. And so I have made myself almost think of my role coming back in 2024 as a refounding or a second founding. I'm thinking about it as if I was starting new, like what would I notice today about the industry? What would I notice today about how we need to build our team differently than we did in the past? And I would encourage all of us at our roles every few years when you're asking yourself that question of, do I still want to do this? Do I still believe? And you say, yes, I believe more than ever. I want to do this. Well, then you also have to almost reestablish yourself and kind of come back into your role as a new executive.
Yes. And who's worthy of coming onto your team for this new relaunch? I know you've made some recent hires that are very important.
Yeah, so we hired an amazing chief marketing officer this year, who started 6 months ago and is responsible for a lot of the incredible marketing that you now see. Our brand is back out in the universe. Our creative is fundamentally evolving, and you'll see launch after launch after launch coming up for RTR. In a week, we are welcoming a new chief product officer onto our team named Bradford Shellhammer, who was actually someone who was kind of an OG founder friend of mine from the early days of tech startups in New York. So when I was launching Rent the Runway, there were all of these companies that were launching at the same time. We all became friends with each other, learned a lot from each other. And he had founded a company called Fab.com, and I had always admired him. He's a 3-time founder who's become an incredible product leader, then at Etsy, then at eBay. And it's amazing to build a team now of people that I've been inspired by for over a decade, to now get the opportunity to work with people that have innovated so much in the industry. That's the kind of rapid pace of innovation that we want to continue to build into Rent the Runway. And this is this point of what I'm saying of a second founding moment. When you're a founder, what that fundamentally means, when you work at a startup, what you're implying is it's about pace. It's about pace of innovation and pace of change. The thing that's different about a startup than an established company is just how quickly a startup moves. So when I say I came back in 2024 with a refounding moment, what it means on the ground is that the speed of change has been 10x'd. We're acting today like it's 2009. We're launching things every week because guess what? No matter if you're a startup or if you're a big company, over 50% of the ideas that you launch are not going to work anyway. So why not get them out into the universe as quickly as possible, figure out what works, iterate on it, and move utilize data to guide those decisions. So infusing that founder mentality back into the company for our 15-year anniversary is actually the thing that I am the most proud of doing now at a company that is of our size and scale.
Oh my gosh, well, I'm so excited to see all you do. Here's to 15 plus more years. And I know you have something very fun you want to do.
Well, to commemorate this, because it is our 15-year anniversary, I wanted to take a photo, if that's okay with everyone here. I wanted to just get everyone in the photo. Just gonna have some fun with this for my own memories. Let's feel free to be fun and crazy in the photo.
1, 2, 3. Beautiful.
Oh my gosh,
Thank you so
fun.
much.
Let's all
Thank
give
you
Jennifer
guys.
a hand. Thank you so much.